Taysom Hill over the New Orleans Saints. It's not going to be Jameis Winston. Sean Payton going with Taysom Hill. What are your thoughts here initially?
Yeah, I was just texting with an Atlanta source about that, and listen, Sean Payton is an interesting character sometimes, and it strains credulity to believe that Taysom Hill is the better option at the quarterback position for the New Orleans Saints, and not the guy who is one of less than a dozen human beings on earth to throw for 5,000 passing yards in a season. Now, did Jameis Winston hurt the Buccaneers with his interceptions last season and throughout his career? Absolutely, no question about it. Does Taysom Hill offer to the Saints something that Jameis Winston does not? Yes, again, absolutely, a much better runner, much more mobile, and obviously knows the system much better than Jameis. So if Taysom is going to start, okay, maybe he starts. And I certainly was expecting to see plenty of Taysom Hill against the Atlanta Falcons, but I'm not at all going to be surprised to see some sort of quarterback rotation. What that mix is, what that ratio of Taysom to Jameis, or Taysom, what was it, Tamus? Whatever that may be, I don't think that Sean Payton really wants that out there just yet. He, of course, alluded to that earlier in the week, where he made no bones about not telling the media what he was going to do 6 days later in their contest against Atlanta. So I'm gonna wait and see, just because it's difficult to believe that they're gonna go with Taysom Hill. I understand that report's out there, and that report very well may be true, but just as someone who watches football, that's hard to believe.
And obviously with Drew Brees, he's faced injury before, and last season was Teddy Bridgewater obviously coming in. If you're Jameis Winston, and you mentioned the statistics, and yes, he's been boom or bust, but you come in and you think you're going to be the main backup to Drew Brees, and here having a chance to step in and now not having that opportunity, what do you think Jameis Winston is thinking right now?
Well, it's difficult. And, if I'm Jameis, I'll think back to last week's game against the 49ers, and I say, hey, I probably would have shown you a little bit more had you not taken me off the field on every third down, like the Saints did for, I think, the first 2 third downs that Jameis was in there. He was never really able to get into a rhythm in the second half because, Sean Payton and the Saints had decided that, no, we want to mix this up and get Taysom in there. So, if you're Jameis, you wonder if you really got a fair shake. But if you're also Jameis, and really anyone else, you look at this and say, hey, they paid Jameis basically the vet minimum. They gave Taysom Hill a fat contract in the same offseason. So from a money perspective, it would make sense. It absolutely makes sense if you want to go with the guy that you're paying more money to play that position. It's just, of course, we've only seen Taysom in spot duty. We know what Jameis is at this point in his career. Maybe he can resurrect his career. I know he obviously wanted to go the Teddy Bridgewater route, and maybe he still has that opportunity to shine in, a game or 2 or 3, depending upon how long Drew Brees is going to be out. But yeah, I think that we were all sort of bracing for, all right, Jameis, your time's here. Make sure, show that you can take care of the football like you have never shown in your career previous to this, and that you've really learned from the master and the gurus and whatnot. But instead, it certainly seems like, Sean Payton's one of his favorite toys of all time, Taysom Hill, is going to get that first opportunity on Sunday.
And to recap sort of the timeline this week for the New Orleans Saints, Sean Payton did not go and name a starter earlier in the week, kind of mum on the issue. Of course, everybody, including fantasy managers, thought it would be Jameis Winston, went to the waiver wire to try to get him. And as of today, again, not official, but all roads point to Taysom Hill getting his first start if all goes well at practice. So before I let you go, Jonathan, so whether it's going to be Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston, or as you alluded to, a combination of both, we know that Drew Brees is going to be out at least a couple of weeks, maybe more. As it stands right now with Tampa Bay in the division, where do you have the New Orleans Saints sort of in your power rankings of the division and really the NFC?
Well, yeah, they would be pretty firmly behind Tampa Bay right now, and that is no disrespect to the New Orleans Saints, who, if Drew Brees were healthy, I'd have the New Orleans Saints ahead of them. But listen, I watched Teddy Bridgewater back when he was in preseason with the Jets for just a little bit. And when they signed him in New Orleans, I said, all right, actually, this guy's going to be pretty good. Now, did he exceed expectations when going 5-0? He absolutely did. But he kept that ship afloat. I don't think that Jameis or Taysom can be Teddy Bridgewater. And so because of that, I can see New Orleans faltering just a little bit. And while New Orleans absolutely owns that tiebreaker over Tampa by virtue of their 2 wins, they're pretty convincing wins. It's not going to matter if one team is 12-4 and the other is 11-5 at the end of the season. So I'm very interested to see how this plays out. I think on Sundays, as I watch all the games, I think that I might just keep 2 eyes on that Atlanta-New Orleans game.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.